right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Yes, Steve Bannon, you going to jail, okay? You are going to jail. You and all your comrades, you deserve to be in jail if you think that is what you're supposed to be. But that is where you're supposed to be, because you know what? You all are sick human beings. You want to know why Steve Bannon now thinks that he and all his comrades are going to jail? I know he is putting it as if it is something about the Democrats are going to be vindictive and just want to put them in jail. Nobody can be thrown in jail for nothing. You remember the criminal who was convicted of 34 counts but still made it to the White House? You remember that conviction? Oh, we forgot about it. Let me refresh your memory, because I know that many of you live on second by second memories. Let's give a roll back to a few seconds ago.
A New York jury found President Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts. This makes him the first president to be convicted of a crime.
Now that you've gotten it, are we okay now? Yes, that president was convicted of 34 counts, but he made his way to the White House. Do you know what happened even before the 34 counts conviction? This man was accused by so many accusers of alleged AS accusations. There was even a video that showed him talking about grabbing them by the... Okay, now, but we still had so many of you, including your favorites like Candy Owens, Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly, we are going to Megyn Kelly in a few seconds. Oh my God. God help me. That woman, she is a PDFI or is PDF apologist. That is what that woman is. But many of you will still think she is your role model. But that's besides the point. So after he got those convictions and after all the grab them by the comments which were in his voice, they called it locker room talk. It doesn't matter. Despite his behavior, the Conservative Party, which is supposed to be the family values party, elected him as their president, and they put him there as a Conservative Party, Republican Party president. And they even had Elon Musk. Elon Musk has more baby mamas than all the men in America combined together. But that hasn't stopped any Republican from accepting him into their fold until he started saying that he was going to drop bombs. Yeah, he dropped something on Twitter once why he and Trump were having that little squabble. You know, the relationship squabble? Yeah. He said Trump is in the Epstein files. That is why it will not be released. And the Epstein file has been brewing for such a long time. And everybody who has eyes, ears, nose, mouth, even the blind, even Stevie Wonder from where he is, even Michael Jackson from the other side of the world could see that Trump is more involved in the Epstein files than he would like to let on. But no, that never stopped any Republican. It never stopped those who voted Trump and sent him into the White House. 34 convictions never stopped them. So why am I thinking that a suspicion or something that shows evidence or some insinuation of potential harm to the young girls of America, why will it stop Americans from putting that kind of a person into the White House to rule them? It has never stopped them, so why will it stop them now? Yes, that man was still voted into the White House, and then he was being asked about it all over the world. The man left and went to the UK, but he could not escape those crimes. In the UK, they portrayed him and his best friend Epstein everywhere, even though the man has been dead. And the only reason that Trump has not released those files, which is something he campaigned for, oh my God, you know, sometimes you'll be telling people that it is not his rule. It is not his goal. It's not something he cares about. Trump doesn't care about it. But the difference between Trump and someone who doesn't care about this file is that Trump actually campaigned that he was going to release these files. I think at the moment when he was campaigning, he was telling himself, during the first term, I promised a lot of things and I never did them. Nothing happened. So why would I even bother about if they will not care? They will not care. If I fulfill a promise or not, it doesn't matter to the American people. Even if they have a video of me telling them that I grabbed their daughters even though I have a Miss Universe or what is it, Miss America or Miss whatever that is, where young girls are moving in and out and Trump has access to those girls, including friends of his, like the Epsteins, who were moving in and out those rooms with those little girls. No, it has never stopped Americans from giving power to more people, people with questionable character. No, it has never stopped Americans. Why will it stop them? He has questionable character. Please give him more power. That is the American rule of the rule of thumb. Okay, if he has questionable character, please make him more powerful than he already is. He was already a rich man. He was already a real estate investor, financier, or whatever he was. No, but the American people thought, what if we just made this man president? What if we do that? And they did that. The first time, the promises he made, he did not keep them. The second time, after convictions of 34 counts, it did not matter. Nothing has ever stopped them. After Trump had all of this roaring of the Epstein files, Trump started asking people, are we still talking about the Epstein files? The Epstein files he promised the American people to release. He started asking them if they are still talking about it. Okay, Trump, we are no longer talking about it. We have heard. Pam Bondi came out and started talking the left side of her mouth. She could not articulate a sentence without lying. Even Levitt, part of the Trump Mar-a-Lago team, they cannot utter a sentence without lying because it has become you can't rely on truth anymore. You can't resist the idea anymore that Trump might have more to do with the Epstein files than he would like to let on. And now this is what happened. I don't know how you can put this in terms of normal things. You can put it in terms of saving grace or God helping them with one. And something happened, unfortunately, to a family. Charlie Kirk. Something happened to Charlie Kirk. And that situation of Charlie Kirk, do you know why it became as big as it became? Trump and his family friends in the White House were doing everything to merge that story, to submerge the Epstein files. They wanted to make sure that the Epstein files were lost into oblivion and no one should talk about it. That is why they made the Charlie Kirk thing as big as they had to. They had to give him a war day. They had to keep adding 1 or 2 things every 2 to 3 days to ensure that people don't talk about the Epstein files. Okay? But this is the truth. Americans live on a second-to-second basis of memory. And once something is no longer hot as it used to be, we will remember something that we had not resolved and we will go back to it. And that is what happened. The American folks woke up and said, Trump, you remember that before this Charlie Kirk thing happened, we were asking you about the files you promised us during your campaign when you said you were going to release them. What happened to the Epstein files? They had a plot, okay? A congresswoman who was completely voted in, they refused to swear her in because they knew she was the last vote to give the go ahead for the Epstein files to be released. Now, finally, after Johnson has been running around and somebody came on TikTok saying that Johnson has an account on, what's this, the gay website where people are looking for love and relationship, that he has an account there. That whole saga, Johnson tried and escaped that one saga and he died quietly. Now they had to do something to swear in this lady who has been voted in as a congresswoman. This woman was there every day protesting. I have not been sworn in and I want to do my job, because she was the key to unlocking the Epstein files. She knew and the American people knew and Trump knew. And once Johnson swore this woman in, Trump started calling people into the White House situation room, as Levitt likes to say. She doesn't want to talk about what happens in the situation room. Trump started calling people into the situation room to talk to them about the Epstein file, trying to persuade them not to release the Epstein file. That is it. I'm telling you guys, this story is very interesting. Trump started telling them, why don't you think we think about something else? Why are you worried about the Epstein file? It's not important. What is talking about the Epstein file? That is a hoax that was cooked up by the Democrats to come to us with the bullshit. And people were like, no, if it is bullshit, we want to still see the bullshit. I like how people were resilient on this case. It is very beautiful. It is a very beautiful thing to see. People were resistant. They said, no, uncle, if you think this thing is a hoax that the Democrats cook to come to us with the bullshit, we want to see the bullshit. When we have seen the bullshit, if it is not nice, we can move on to another thing. For now, bring us the bullshit. And so they finally, even Republicans had to vote for this thing to be released because they knew, how do you want to face your Congress people? How do you want to face your constituent the next time you have an election to tell them that you were one of the people who voted that the Epstein file shouldn't be released? It means that you are one of those people who was voting to protect PDF files. Yes. So they all voted for it to be released. So as we are talking now, it is breaking news. What is the breaking news? I can't say that breaking news. Let's have the news people do it for us.
Breaking news, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein mentioned Donald Trump by name several times in private emails.
Epstein says in these emails that he could produce photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen. Epstein claims that he and Trump had dated the same woman back in the 1990s, saying, my 20-year-old girlfriend in 1993 that after 2 years I gave to Donald.
Part of the Republican response to the selective and limited release of emails by the Democrats, Republicans stepped up and put out 20,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein-related documents.
These are emails from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. This is one from April 2nd, 2011. And in this email, Jeffrey Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell and says, quote, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
Ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused, he walked straight into the door.
Michael Wolff says, quote, I hear that CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt.
Trump is borderline insane. He says Donald Trump is effing crazy. Maybe Donald Trump has early dementia. Rumler says Trump is so gross. And Epstein responds, worse in real life and up close.
Michael Wolff says, quote, I hear that CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt.
Now we have to ask ourselves, what is the essence of blackmail? If you are blackmailing someone, does it mean they have done something they don't want out there? Or can you blackmail someone on something that is not even available or something they have never done? Ask yourself that question before you defend him. Well, it is not my word. Donald Trump is very gross. Very, very gross, especially in person. That is not my words. That is the words of his very good friend Epstein. Okay? Now, after all of this came out, after the re-emergence of the Epstein situation, and now we have more emails. You remember last time we had letters which were scripted and scribbled in form of drawings, and they were released. And Trump said, I've never drawn anything in my life. But lo and behold, they had images of him scribbling the towers, scribbling other things. And he claimed he has never scribbled. The man lies for a living these days. He's no longer leading the country for a living. He lies as a president for a living these days. It is just part of his agenda. When he wakes up in the morning, I'm sure he calls his chief of staff. What are the lies I'm to tell? And they execute them on that day. That is what he does these days. That man said he has never scribbled. Meanwhile, there are so many, even one he donated to a charity, scribbling. Well, after this has come out, now Trump, as before, he has caved back into it is a hoax. Why are we talking about it? He cannot say it anymore because we have so many things out here that are pointing to him being involved with Epstein. Do you know what Trump is doing now? When he has anything he has to do, to talk in front of people, when he finishes it, he just sends people out. They pack people out of the White House as fast as possible. And then if you ask him a question about it, he just shuts the thing down. Trump is acting more scared than Ooh, Jesus Christ. This is so pitiful. It is pitiful for you to be the most powerful man in the world, and yet you have to hide your face every day due to your behavior. But I blame the American people. You knew this man had very sketchy behavior. You knew he had skeletons. Besides, not only skeletons, but a lot of corpses in his cupboard. But you still made him the most powerful man in the United States. How far? How is it going, Americans? I hope you are very proud of yourselves. I hope, in fact, congratulations. Your young girls, your little girls are no longer safe because you have decided that you want to elect a man who has no discipline, no moral scruples into the White House. Congratulations. Let's see how Trump is currently behaving these days now that we can no longer use the Charlie Kirk situation to cover up the Epstein situation. We can no longer say it is a hoax anymore. Look at what he's doing these days because he cannot answer simple reporters anymore. He can't call them fake news anymore. He can't.
The department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax.
Democrat hoax now, but when you were campaigning for it during your time, you were seeking re-election into the White House. It was not a hoax then. It was something you were fighting to release. The Epstein files are going to be released. Now it is a Democrat hoax. Now you feel that there are people that are going to be mentioned that they shouldn't be mentioned. If someone was committing crimes with Epstein, if someone was putting our young girls in danger, afflicting them all around the world, little girls being endangered with that monster who murdered himself, and that was too easy a crime for him. I wanted him to be alive to face all his justice. But then the American system works the way the American system works. If that man was endangering little girls with any other human being in America, that person should be on Front Street. Their name should be on Front Street. Don't worry, we'll be the judge to know. If your name is in his book, Epstein, it means there is something sketchy about you. Then we will look into everything. If you texted Epstein saying that, good morning, sir, I just wish to tell you, can you tone down the music because we are all in the Hamptons and your music is too loud, I'm not sure anybody is going to be considering you one of the people who was using his plane or one of the people who were doing the things he's doing. But if you are in that book, texting Epstein, asking him when next you guys are meeting, and ask if you're meeting Cinderella or Margarita or Sonira or Selena, then there is something about you and him that felt like more close friendship, and that feels like you guys were doing something together. And we would like to know what you guys were doing together, because Epstein is known for, one, doing bad things to little girls, and two, doing bad things to little girls, and three, doing bad things to very little girls. So tell me, what were you and Epstein meeting together to do? If you guys met at a party and he mentions that in his documents, it is fine. He met several people at parties, and I'm not sure any of those people are panicking because they met at the party and bypassed each other, or maybe say hello and moved on. I have seen somebody who had a full interview saying he was introduced to Epstein and said he was told that Epstein is going to be a financier. But this person, because he had discernment and because he's a financier, once he met Epstein, he spoke to Epstein, he went home and told his wife, I have met a person who is a fraud, someone who is claiming to be a financier, but he is not. I watched that interview. If you think that we will see somebody like that who was introduced to him and will complain, no. The only people who are panicking Trump are people like you who are innocent, who are not innocent. You have skeletons in your cupboard. You have had drawings showing up, showing that you had something to do with Epstein. Now, Epstein is talking about blackmailing you. Blackmailing you. Which means there is something he has. Please release all the files. We want to see the demons we are dealing with in the world. Yeah, he wants to help everyone. Okay, Trump, that's fine. Let's see how he's driving people out of the situation of, after anything he says, he's now driving journalists out as if they are fowls. He doesn't want them eating his corn. Okay.
That we love and we have have a country that's in great shape. As you know, we have now it's over $18 trillion invested in our country by other people and countries.
Not true.
That's a record. There's never been a country that had so much. And that money's going into also building new auto plants, new AI plants, new everything. We've never had a time like this. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, are you prepared to negotiate with Democrats now?
Mr. President, on Jeffrey Epstein.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for going.
Mr. President, can you respond to these Epstein emails that were released today?
Well done, Mr. President.
I will keep. I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. According to the released emails, Maxwell responds, I have been thinking about that.
Epstein suggesting reporters ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused, he walked straight into the door.
Do you see how fast he's sending people out of the White or out of the press room? Trump is the one who likes to sit there and talk to everyone after every little press briefing. Oh, how are you? Yes, I'm feeling great. I had a psychological evaluation yesterday and my doctor said I'm in excellent health. Yes, I ate a little pigeon yesterday. Oh, I ate a sandwich. The sandwich was amazing. No, it came from McDonald's. Oh, yes. Yesterday I ate a green vegetable. It was very green. It was slightly cooked. The marination was like a little garlic, a little oil and olive. Yes, my doctor said I should eat that. Oh, Trump, who is very good at expressing rubbish all over the place. Now, when it is important stuff, he's pulling people out of the place. He's having his staff push out the journalists as fast as possible so that they don't have to ask him any questions. All of a sudden, it is thank you, hitting the table, slamming the table down. But this is not Trump's first escape at this Epstein fightings. When the thing was ongoing, when it was hot, when things were boiling before the Charlie Kirk situation, which they used to cover everything, this is what they were doing. They had removed Ghislaine Maxwell, whether her name is what, I don't care. They removed that witch and took her to a tennis bouncy ball place where she's about to have living a vida loca. She is living the high life. What do you know? Crime pays in America. All you need to do is harm little children and assist your partner in harming little children, and you shall live ever happily ever after. Because this woman has been moved to a minimum, in fact, it's not even a prison. It is called a courtyard or whatever they call it. It means that she is living a vida loca. You think I'm lying? Okay, fine. Let the news people tell you.
Whistleblower alleges that Ghislaine Maxwell is getting special treatment in prison.
Maxwell's meals have been customized. They are delivered directly to her cell. She is personally escorted to the exercise area after hours and gets to enjoy recreation time in staff-only areas. When she wants private meetings, the warden personally arranges them, providing an assortment of snacks and refreshments for her guests.
One more perk for the convicted sex offender, puppy time. According to the whistleblower, an inmate who trains puppies to become service dogs was instructed to provide one to Maxwell for a time so she could play with the puppy.
Yes, Ghislaine started having puppy time, having special chefs, having special meals, special guests, visits. She stays in the staff quarter, enjoy all these luxuries and leisure. Why? Because she committed a crime. And the president of the United States moved her from maximum security prison to a loving, beautiful, soft touch place where she can have all the good time in her life. And do you know what else she's doing there? Why she is there? She's using the warden to help her write an appeal letter to the president of the United States. And when they ask the president of the United States or his spokeswoman, she always pretends that the president has not done or said anything. So why is this woman writing an appeal letter? Because the president, he grants them like Pop-Tarts. As you come and say, Mr. President, I killed 52 people, but I think I need an appeal. You go, you have an appeal. Mr. President, can I have a pardon? You have a pardon. So Ghislaine is having the guts to write a pardon after the crimes she did with her partner, who is now gone because he could not face his crimes because she thinks that the president is going to give her that pardon. Do you know why she thinks so? If she could make him remove her from a maximum security prison to a baby tall enjoyment prison center, why do you think she will not have the guts to think he will grant her a pardon? Okay, and given that the news has been circulating it means that it is something that is ongoing underground. Okay, and do you know why Ghislaine Maxwell thinks that this happened? This is only after President sent people to go and talk to Ghislaine. And Ghislaine said something. Ah, le monsieur là, il a jamais fait quelque chose de mal que j'ai vu. Non, jamais. Le monsieur là, très gentleman, je te jure, ma belle, je te jure. Monsieur Trump, lui, non, il ne fait rien, Le monsieur là, il est très, très gentil avec moi, avec tout le monde que moi je vois un monsieur avec bon caractère. Monsieur du bon caractère, ce monsieur Donald Trump, je te dis, si moi je te dis que si dans le monsieur là est très bon, il n'a jamais fait quelque chose. Et c'est pour ça qu'on l'a enlevé Ghislaine Maxwell et on l'a envoyé chez Fais attention, enjoy yourself. Tu penses que je manque? Attends, je vous montre ce qu'elle a dit.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
In all respects, he was a gentleman. Just conveniently after she made this statement, Ghislaine Maxwell is removed from a maximum security prison to a loving, playful house. In fact, she is having extracurricular enjoyment because she has a bartender, she has someone, a chef, she has... Lord, if that is how crime pays in America, who is going to not be incentivized to commit crimes? Nobody cares. As long as you commit crimes by harming children, but don't commit crimes by stealing a mango to feed your kid. No, commit crimes by harming children, making children to go through trauma and torture in their young age by passing them around through your friends. Let them play around with them. That is the kind of crime America likes. They will give you enjoyment time. In fact, Epstein went for decades without anything. And do you know the funny thing? Even when you are caught, you will still have imbeciles, people of minuscule micro brains who have kids of the same age of the kids who were abused in this case, and they will have an excuse for it. You think I'm joking? Well, let the Republicans, the people of the Family Value Party, let them tell you what they are feeling.
Obviously an attempt to smear the president by cherry picking.
This is just all for show.
A distraction.
Just ridiculous.
The carnival showed it's journalistically malpractice.
Why weren't they as concerned about Bill Clinton?
They love to create drama.
This whole Epstein files thing, a little bit played out.
I want you to remember, these are members of the Family Value Party, the Republican Conservative Party. These are the individuals who value family values, strong family American values. America was built on Christian values. All of you are from Armageddon, and that is where you're all going. Armageddon, okay? You are all monsters. You have a man who committed crimes like this. You say it's played out? How is your excuse that it is played out? How do you open your mouth, fix it to say that this is all drama? How do you say it is played out? How do you say they are trying to smear the president? We are cherry picking. You bring the Clinton in, please, all of them, box them out. We don't care whether they are Democrats, the Republicans, whether they are Jesus, as long as they were part of the Epstein files. We want them on Front Street so we can tell them who they are and let the justice system reign, okay? Let the justice system take them to where they belong. Well, one is in the White House, so he's trying everything possible to protect the rest of them like they are not any criminals. But if you were to have picked a lollipop, the wrong orange, to feed your kid, no, you have maximum sentence of 50 years and above because you took an orange from a shop to feed your child. Okay, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm trying to lay down how the American justice system works. If you commit a small crime, you're about to face the full rage of the American justice system. But if you were a PDF, you were committing crimes, even if the children died, who cares? Who cares if you were a PDF and you committed crimes and children died? Nobody gives a damn. You are about to become a very much important person in the United States of America. Okay, because that is how they see their system working. That is how they live in it. You think that that is the only people who are going to defend it? Let me show you people with another. What irks me, Megyn Kelly has a kid. She has a daughter. I think she's 14 or something. She has a daughter. But you know what? Megyn Kelly is going to sit here and tell me the difference between a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old. Because in her mind, her giving me that difference makes Epstein a different thing. And do you know what is the most interesting part? I made a video about this yesterday when I was so pissed. Megyn Kelly has known for years that Epstein, that old Epstein man, was interested in 15-year-olds. You know what she said? He was not a PDF file. It did not matter to her. She was not bothered, even though she knew that he had been interested in 15-year-old girls. She sat quiet. It was nothing. She thought, oh, he's not a pedophile. He's just interested in 15-year-olds. But when she saw pictures or videos of him, or when they found pictures or videos on his computer of baby little children, PORN, that's when she said, oh, he is. And what I'm going to say is, oh God, I swear this woman irks me, please.
For Epstein, he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever. It's sick.
You see, when she said that, even herself, she coiled in because she knew that trying to defend this man, saying that there's a difference between an 8-year-old and a 15-year-old. If you have to come out to say there is a difference between an 8-year-old and a 15-year-old, it means you are trying to defend a PDF file, Megyn. It means you are trying to apologize for a PDF file's actions. What was the reason for you saying this? All you needed to say is this was demonic. What am I even talking about? This woman voted and said she will vote again for Donald Trump. She supported Trump, even though Trump has been a nasty person towards her. It didn't matter. Even though Trump has had very unscrupulous behavior, it doesn't matter to her. This woman, conscience bought and paid for. And that is what the Republican Party, most of them are. Some of them still have good conscience, but most of them bought and sold conscience. They don't care. If it doesn't concern their particular daughter, there's no problem. And I am having the irk or the feeling somewhere that even if it concerns some of their daughters, they feel or sound like those kind of parents who will tell their daughters, it is your fault. It is your fault that an adult man decided to sleep with a kid. It is your fault. Oh, Lord. Let someone play with my kid. I'm about to go to jail. I'm about to go to jail. Because it is no way that you are walking out of there with your third leg intact. I'm about to go to jail. How do you people fix your mouth and you make excuses for people like this? America, how do you do it? This is disgusting. This is appalling. Young girls of the Republican Party, I'm not sure they are safe. I'm not sure they are safe, given that you have apologies for people with such behaviors. Trump has behavior that is concerning. He is linked to the Epstein files. We don't know how deep he was. But the reason that he is not comfortable with that file being released now, it tells us a lot. It tells us a lot about his involvement. And I'm sure we still have so many people who have daughters at home sitting there defending Trump. Oh, Lord, help us. This has got to be the epicenter of where moral bankruptcy comes to meet. That is where it is. People will defend someone who... Politics is a disgusting business. Because it is only in politics where you find someone defending someone who doesn't share moral values with them, doesn't share spiritual values with them, doesn't share family values with them, and they defend them. People of the Republican Party, the Conservative Party, who believe in strong family values. Candace Owens is one of them. She believes in strong family values, but she defended and voted for Trump, campaigned for him. The only reason she's turning on him now is because he did not invite her to the administration and he did not back her up for her case with the Macrons. She even defended Andrew Tate, bringing a little girl under the bus, a child who knew nothing about what was going on in her life, but she was making mistakes with adult men of 40 years. Well, what am I talking about? We had J.D. Vance defending kids who were talking, what am I saying kids? These were men who were as old as J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance should be in his early 40s, right? These kids in the young Republican Party, they were in their 30s and early 40s. And J.D. Vance said he's not going to talk about what kids say. Kids, when they were being racist, being very, very homophobic, being anti-Semitic, being everything terrible in the book. And he has an Indian wife. Usha, is anybody in there? You're in danger, girl. You and your kids in danger. That's where you are. You're in danger. Well, guys, this was a long rant. I have a headache from I'm so angry. I'm sorry for shouting at you guys. It was not your fault. It's just that I'm so angry about the subject, so angry about it that sometimes I avoid covering subjects like this because actually they really affect me emotionally. They affect me like mentally. That's why I like covering Candace Owens. It's not something I care about. It's just gossip. It's just a little gossip, which we can learn lessons from. Yes, we can learn life lessons from, to know how to pick our friends, how to be human beings to one another. But when you have cases like this, where you see people's real lives, being little children being played with. Candace can play with her friends all they want. All of them are adults. They can do what they want. And we have those conversations just as life lessons. But when you have kids who are defenseless, being played with like this, and those victims up to today, they have not found justice because the justice system keeps playing with them. It keeps playing with them. Okay? And it is something that hurts me to the core, that these Republicans sit up there and they make all kinds of excuses about it. It's just bothersome. America voted a president like that. And it is not like the red flags were not there. They were there. But America said, you know what? This guy with questionable character, that is who we want in the White House. And now that everything is coming out and push is coming to shove, they are still looking for excuses. J.D. Vance is suddenly missing. J.D. Vance, where are you? Come defend your papa. Come defend your zaddy, okay? I think J.D. Vance is somewhere now struggling to find a way to become president, because if this Epstein files things comes to a head and the Republican Party can no longer handle him or can no longer pretend about it, they are about to drop Trump under the bus, and then J.D. Vance is about to become the new president. Because this is the truth. Politicians don't care about your moral scruples. As long as you're a good enough puppet for them at that moment, you will be there. Unless it becomes too detrimental for their cause for you to be there, then they will take you out. Do you think they did not know Joe Biden was as old as he was when they allowed him to enter the White House? They knew. The man was old, physically frail. They knew it. And they backed him up to become president. But then when the damage he was causing them became much more visible and much more, let's say, maybe permanent if they don't do something about it, they now had to drag him under the bus and pretend like, they don't know anything. Oh my God, the man is old. His mental capacity. Trump's mental capacity is under question for a while now. That is why he keeps having tests and evaluations. Why is he having tests and evaluations every 2 to 3 minutes, which he's bragging about? Trump, you having tests and mental evaluations is not something you brag about, because it is telling us that there is something people are worried about behind the scenes. That's why they are doing those tests. It is not because they are confident in you as a person who is coherent. Even your dear friend Epstein, and this was in 2018 or 2019, that's years ago, he said, you are exhibiting signs of early dementia. It is not me, Trump. It is your friend who said it in his files, Epstein. He says you're exhibiting signs of early dementia. And that was years ago, which means the dementia must have crossed a level now. And I think the people behind the scenes pulling the string, they can see it. So now this Epstein file thing, they're going to use it probably, or another thing, to get Trump out of the White House so we can slap J.D. Vance on. So J.D. Vance is suddenly very quiet, so he can slide onto the chair and pretend like, the Trump thing. I told you guys before, I don't like this guy. I supported him because I thought he was pretender. J.D. Vance is a climber. He doesn't care. Morals be damned. He knows what he's doing. Oh, guys. All right. Please let me know what you're going through about this case below. Until next time, bye.